Welcome. Today we are going to explore a phenomenon that many men experience but few truly understand. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the temperature change? Have you noticed how some women, instead of leaning in, seem to pull back, yet their eyes never leave you? They call it intimidation, but in the realm of high-level psychology and primal attraction, intimidation is just the shadow side of intense desire. If you are a man of substance, a man of silence, and a man of direction, you are likely terrifying to the average woman. And in that terror, she finds her greatest sexual trigger. Let's talk about why your strength is her greatest craving. Think about the last time you saw a woman lose her composure around you. Maybe she stumbled over her words. Maybe she checked her phone 5 times in 5 minutes. You might have thought she was disinterested. You might have thought you were doing something wrong. Deeper, she is reacting to the vacuum of your presence. Most men are noise. They fill the air with empty compliments, nervous laughter, and a desperate need to be liked. But you are a void. You don't offer immediate validation. You don't rush to fill the silence. And for a woman, silence is a mirror. When she sits with you and you aren't performing for her, she is forced to look at herself. She wonders, am I enough for this man? Can he see the cracks in my veneer? This is the first true sign, the unflinching gaze. When you look at a woman, you aren't looking at her for permission. You are observing her. It's a predatory stillness, not in a way that is harmful, but in a way that is ancient. You are assessing her value, her character, and her authenticity. This is incredibly intimidating because most women are used to being the observers. They are used to judging men. When the roles are flipped and she realizes she is the one being audited by your silent standards, it triggers an obsessive need to prove herself to you. She starts to wonder what it would take to make you smile, what it would take to make you lose that composure. She wants to be the exception to your rule. Can you feel the tension in that? It's the tension of a bowstring pulled tight. She feels small in your presence, but it's a safe small. It's the feeling of being near a fire that could burn you, but chooses to warm you instead. If you are a man who has built a life of discipline, if you go to the gym, if you run a business, if you study the world, you carry an aura of capability. You look like a man who could handle a crisis. And in a world of soft men, a capable man is a frightening thing. He is frightening because he has the power to leave. He has the power to say no. And nothing, absolutely nothing, triggers a woman's desire more than a man who she cannot fully control. Let's talk about your emotional stoicism. We live in an era that tells men to be vulnerable, to pour their hearts out at the first sign of a conflict. But you know better. You know that a woman's attraction is built on the foundation of your stability. When she is emotional, when she is chaotic, when she is testing the boundaries of the relationship and you remain a mountain, she becomes intimidated. She thinks, nothing I do moves him. I cannot sway his center. This creates a psychological chase. She will try to provoke you. She will try to seduce you. She will try to make you angry, all just to see if there is a human being under that armor. And when she fails to break you, she falls for you hard. Because if she can't break you, she knows the world can't break you. She realizes that your arms are the only place in the world where she can finally stop being the leader and start being the woman. Now, let's go deeper into the second sign, the mystery of your mission. Have you ever noticed that the more you focus on your work, the more women seem to gravitate toward you? It's counterintuitive to the nice guy logic. The nice guy thinks that by giving her all of his time, he will win her heart. But the intimidating man, the man who triggers desire, has a throne that he sits upon, and that throne is his purpose. When a woman realizes that she is not the most important thing in your life, it creates a massive amount of psychological friction. She is intimidated by your ambition. She sees you working late. She sees you reading books she doesn't understand. She sees you speaking to men of power with ease. This makes her feel like she is an interloper in your kingdom. And what does a woman do when she feels like an interloper? She tries to become indispensable. She starts to dress better when she knows she's going to see you. She starts to choose her words more carefully. She becomes hyper-aware of her own femininity because your masculinity is so loud, even when you aren't saying a word. She imagines what it's like to be the woman who gets to see the man behind the mission. She wonders if you're as disciplined in the bedroom as you are in the boardroom. She wonders if that same focus you apply to your craft would be applied to her skin, her hair, her pleasure. This is the sexualization of competence. You are intimidating because you are high stakes. A woman knows that if she messes up with a man like you, she loses a king. She can't just replace you with the next guy on a dating app. You are a rare commodity. The fear of losing you is what keeps her desire at a fever pitch. Think about the way you handle no. An intimidating man doesn't argue when he's rejected. He doesn't beg. He simply disappears. If a woman plays games with you and you simply stop texting, not out of anger, but out of a genuine lack of time for nonsense, she becomes terrified. She realizes that her power has no currency with you. You have a higher currency, your self-respect. When she sees that you value yourself more than you value her body, she becomes obsessed. She has to win you back. She has to prove that she is worthy of the man who can walk away from anything that doesn't serve his vision. This is why you must never apologize for your intensity. Your intensity is your magnetism. When you walk into a room and people stop talking, it's because you carry the weight of your achievements and your struggles. You aren't easy. You aren't accessible. You are a summit that must be climbed. And for a woman of high value, the climb is the only thing that makes the view worth it. She doesn't want the man who is waiting at the bottom of the hill with a glass of water. She wants the man at the peak who tells her to keep moving. There is a law in nature that we often forget in our hyper-connected world, the law of scarcity. We value what is rare. We crave what is not easily possessed. This leads us to the fourth sign that you are intimidating to her, your comfort with silence and absence. Most men in the modern era suffer from a frantic energy. They are constantly checking their phones, reacting to every notification, and feeling the need to explain themselves. But you have mastered the art of being gone. Even when you are standing right in front of her, there is a part of you that she cannot touch, a part of you that belongs to your thoughts, your goals, and your internal world. This is terrifying to a woman. She wonders, where is he? What is he thinking? She feels your absence even when you are present. It's the mystery of the unspoken. When you don't fill every gap in the conversation with nervous chatter, she begins to fill that gap with her own imagination. And a woman's imagination is a powerful thing. In the silence, she begins to build a version of you that is even more powerful, even more sexual, and even more dominant than you actually are. Your intimidation lies in the fact that she cannot read you. You are an encrypted file, you are a locked door. This triggers her desire because it turns her into an investigator. She becomes obsessed with finding the key. She will look for clues in the way you drink your coffee, the way you adjust your watch, or the way your eyes move when you look at a menu. This is the ultimate chase. Usually, men are the hunters, but when you are intimidating and silent, you become the prize that must be pursued. She is intimidated because she realizes that if she doesn't keep you interested, you could simply drift away into your own world, and she would never truly know why. Let's talk about your pacing. Have you ever noticed that a man who is unsure of himself moves quickly? He talks fast. He walks fast, and he tries to escalate things fast because he's afraid the opportunity will disappear. But the intimidating man, he moves with the slow, deliberate grace of a predator. He is nowhere to be, but exactly where he is. This is the fifth sign, temporal dominance. You own your time. When you are with her, you aren't looking at your watch. You aren't rushing the interaction. You're present, but you are slow. This slowness is incredibly seductive because it suggests a high level of confidence. It says, I am the master of my environment. To a woman, this slowness feels like power. It feels like she is caught in your orbit and the normal rules of the world no longer apply. She is intimidated by this because she cannot rush you. She cannot manipulate you with her own fast-paced emotions. You are like a deep river. She is a leaf on the surface. She can splash and wave all she wants. But the current of your life moves at its own speed. This triggers a sexual desire rooted in surrender. She wants to be pulled under. She wants to stop fighting her own internal chaos and simply flow with your strength. Think about what happens in the bedroom with a man who has this kind of patience. She imagines that you won't be frantic. She imagines that you will take your time exploring her, that you will be the one in control of the rhythm, the pace, and the climax. That anticipation, that slow burn is what keeps her awake at night. The intimidation she feels in the daylight turns into a delicious yearning in the dark. We must address the most controversial sign of all, your ability to say no. Modern dating culture has turned men into yes men. They agree with everything a woman says because they are terrified of conflict. But an intimidating man has boundaries that are made of steel. If she crosses a line, if she is disrespectful, if she is late without a reason, if she plays games, you call it out. Or better yet, you simply withdraw your attention. This is the sixth sign, low tolerance for nonsense. You are a man who respects himself more than he desires her. This is the ultimate intimidation factor. Why? Because most women have never met a man who can actually say no to them. When you stand your ground, you are showing her that your standards are higher than her beauty. At first, she might get angry. She might call you cold or arrogant, but beneath that anger is a profound sense of relief. Finally, she has found a man who is strong enough to keep her in check. Finally, she has found a man who won't let her destroy the relationship with her own whims. Your no gives her a yes she can actually trust. If your no is firm, then when you finally say yes to her, It means everything. It's not a cheap gift, it's a hard-earned reward. She desires the man who can walk away. She desires the man who doesn't need her. Paradoxically, the less you need her, the more she needs to be the one who finally makes you need her. It's a game of psychological chess, and by being intimidating, you've already won. There is an intimidation that comes from the mind. The seventh sign is competence in the unknown. Women are drawn to men who know things they don't, whether it's how to fix a car, how the stock market works, or the philosophy of the Stoics. When you speak with authority on a subject that is complex, you create a knowledge gap. This gap is intimidating. It makes her feel like there are layers to you that she hasn't even begun to peel back. She realizes that you are not just a body, you are a mind, and a powerful mind is a sexual thing. She starts to wonder what else you know. She starts to value your opinion more than her own. She begins to look at you not just as a partner, but as a mentor, a leader, a guide. This triggers the hypergamy response, the biological drive to pair with a man of higher status and intelligence. Your intelligence is a weapon. When you use it precisely, not to belittle her, but to enlighten her, you create a bond of deep respect. She is intimidated by your brain, but she is seduced by the way you use it to navigate the world. She feels safe in the shadow of your intellect. She knows that if life gets complicated, you will have the answer. This leads us to the final concept of this section, the controlled beast. Every truly intimidating man carries a hint of danger. It's in the way you move, the way you look at a threat, and the underlying physical capability you possess. You aren't a nice guy, you are a good man. And there is a massive difference. A nice guy is harmless because he has no teeth. A good man is a dangerous man who keeps his sword sheathed. This is the eighth sign, suppressed power. She can feel the beast inside you. She sees it in the grip of your hand, the intensity of your focus, and the way you don't flinch. This is the most primal trigger of her desire. She is intimidated by what you could do, but she is captivated by the fact that you choose to be gentle with her. She wants to be the only thing that can soothe the beast. She wants to be the one who gets to see the lamb that lives inside the lion. That contrast, the dangerous man who is tender in private, is the ultimate feminine fantasy. Your intimidation is the dark that makes the light of your affection so much brighter. You see, being intimidating isn't about being a bully, it's about being formidable. It's about having a soul that is too big for a small life. If you are experiencing these signs, if women seem a bit nervous, a bit shy, or even a bit defensive around you, don't change. You are on the right path. You are becoming the version of a man that is truly rare, but there is a trap. If you are intimidating but you don't have warmth, you will be alone. The secret is to be a storm with a harbor. You must be the powerful, intimidating force, but you must offer a safe place for the right woman to land. You must show her that while you are a lion to the world, you can be a lamb to her, but only if she earns that side of you. This balance is what creates legendary love stories. This is what creates a desire that lasts a lifetime. We've spoken about the signs, we've spoken about the aura, but now we must speak about the weight. You see, being an intimidating man is a burden as much as it is a gift. Many men reach this level of power and then they become afraid of it. They see the woman they desire pulling back. They see the flicker of nervousness in her eyes and they think they are losing her, so they soften, they apologize, they become nice, and in that single moment of weakness, the spell is broken. The desire dies. You must understand the law of the high stake. When a woman is intimidated by you, she is essentially saying, you have the power to destroy me. This is not literal destruction. It is emotional and ego-driven. She realizes that her usual tricks, her beauty, her pouting, her social status don't work on you. This makes her feel naked. And when a woman feels naked before a man who remains clothed in his purpose, she experiences a specific kind of ophir, arousal. Let's talk about your micro-presence. Have you ever noticed how a man of low value moves? He is twitchy, he adjusts his shirt, he looks around the room to see who is watching him. But you move as if the air itself is thick. As if you are moving through water, you take up space, not by being loud, but by being heavy. When you sit in a chair, you own that chair. You don't perch on the edge of it as if you're ready to jump up the moment she asks for a favor. You lean back, you let your knees fall open. You expose your vital organs because you are not afraid of anything in that room. This vulnerable dominance is terrifying to her because it shows a lack of fear. It shows that you are the apex. Watch her eyes when you do this. She will look away, then look back. She is checking to see if you are still there, still unbothered. This is the ninth sign, the stillness of the hunter. Most men are prey, constantly scanning for threats or validation. You are the one being scanned, and because you don't react to her scans, her brain begins to short circuit. She begins to project her deepest sexual fantasies onto you. Because you are a blank slate of power, she imagines you are exactly the kind of man she has always dreamed of but was too afraid to ask for. Now let's move into the architecture of the voice. Why is your voice a trigger? Because an intimidating man doesn't speak from his throat, he speaks from his gut. When you speak to her, do you seek her approval at the end of your sentences? Do your statements end with a rising inflection, as if you're asking a question? I thought we could go to dinner. No. An intimidating man makes statements, we're going to dinner, be ready at 8. It's not a command given out of anger, it's a command given out of certainty. When she hears that resonance in your chest, it bypasses her logical brain and hits her nervous system. It tells her that she doesn't have to make decisions. It tells her that the burden of leadership has been lifted from her shoulders. She is intimidated by your decisiveness because she knows that if you can decide where to eat, you can decide how to protect her, how to build a life, and how to handle her in the dark. But there is a dark side to this. This is the 10th sign, the isolation of the king. As you become more intimidating, more men will dislike you and more women will be afraid to approach you. You will find that you have fewer casual friends. People will choose their words carefully around you. You might feel lonely, but this loneliness is the price of admission. The average woman will stay away from you because she knows she can't handle the heat. But the high-value woman, the woman who has done her own work, the woman who is a queen in her own right, she will see your intimidation as a lighthouse. She is looking for the man who is stronger than her. She is looking for the man she cannot intimidate. When you meet her, the explosion of desire will be unlike anything you've ever felt, because for the first time you aren't just a man, you are a force. And she is the only vessel strong enough to contain you. Let's move into the most visceral territory of all, the transition from your presence to your touch. We have built the fortress of your mind and the weight of your silence. But now we must address the physicality of the formidable. Have you ever watched a woman when an intimidating man finally reaches out and touches her? It's not a grab, it's not a tentative poke. It is a claim. This leads us into the 11th sign, the predator's touch. Most men touch a woman with a subconscious question mark. They touch her arm or her waist as if they are asking, is this okay? Are you going to reject me? This uncertainty is a massive turn-off, but the man who triggers desire through intimidation touches with a period at the end of his sentence. When you put your hand on the small of her back to guide her through a room, you aren't just moving her body, you are moving her reality. Your hand is heavy, it is warm, it is certain. She is intimidated because that tells her that you are aware of your physical power. She feels the strength in your fingers, the callus on your palm, and the absolute lack of hesitation. It triggers a thought in the back of her mind. If he can guide me this firmly in public, what does he do when the doors are closed? This is the alchemy of safe danger. She feels the danger of your strength, but because you are a man of character, she feels safe within it. It is a biological paradox that drives women wild. She is intimidated by the fact that you could easily overpower her, but she is seduced by the fact that you use that power to ground her. Think about the way you look at her when you are close. Most men break eye contact when things get too real. They look down or they look away, but you hold the gaze, you look at her lips, then back to her eyes, and you don't say a word. You let the tension sit there like a live wire. You let her feel the heat of the moment until she is the one who has to catch her breath. This is temporal dominance in an intimate setting. You are the master of the clock. You decide when the kiss happens. You decide when the conversation ends. This level of physical control is terrifying to her ego because she realizes she has no defense against it. She is at the mercy of your restraint. Let's talk about the 12th sign, the absence of performance. In a world of performative masculinity, where men are constantly trying to prove how alpha or tough they are, the truly intimidating man does nothing. You don't brag about your gym PRs, you don't talk about the fights you've won or the money you've made. You simply exist in a state of high readiness. This is the quiet confidence of the sheathed sword. A woman can sense it. She can see it in the way you don't flinch when a loud noise happens. She sees it in the way you don't get defensive when someone interrupts you. You don't need to bark to prove you're a wolf. She is intimidated by this because she can't find your buttons. Most men are easy to manipulate. Just give them a little bit of praise or a little bit of coldness and they dance. But you don't dance. Your mood is not dependent on her. If she is being difficult, you don't get angry, you get bored. You might even give her a look of mild amusement, as if you're watching a child have a tantrum. This is devastatingly attractive. It shows her that you are the emotional anchor of the environment. She begins to crave your approval because it is the only thing she cannot buy or manipulate. She has to earn it through her own excellence, her own grace, and her own surrender. This brings us to the 13th sign, the high cost of entry. An intimidating man doesn't give his heart away for a pretty face. You have a gatekeeper in your mind. You audit the women who want to be in your life. You ask yourself, is she loyal? Is she intelligent? Does she add peace to my kingdom? Or does she bring chaos? When a woman realizes that she is being interviewed, even sub-verbally, it flips the script of modern dating. Usually, she is the one choosing. Now, she is the one hoping to be chosen. She is intimidated by your standards. She realizes that beauty is a common currency, but character is rare, and you are only interested in the rare. This triggers a competitive drive in her. She wants to be the one who is good enough for the man who doesn't need anyone. She wants to be the one who earns the right to sit at your table. This desire to be chosen by a man of high standards is a sexual fire that never goes out. It keeps her attentive. It keeps her respectful. It keeps her devoted. But remember what I said earlier, you must be a storm with a harbor. If you are only intimidating, you are just a villain. But if you are intimidating to the world and a sanctuary for her, you are a god. When she has a bad day, when she feels small, when the world is too loud for her, that is when you pull her into that heavy certain embrace. You don't have to say, it's okay. Your presence says it for you. Your heartbeat is the only rhythm she needs to hear. In that moment, the intimidation she felt earlier turns into a deep soul-level gratitude. She realizes that the same man who makes the rest of the world nervous is the man who makes her feel the most safe. That contrast is the ultimate trigger. It creates a bond that is unbreakable. We are continuing this journey into the depths. We have a lot more ground to cover, specifically how to handle the testing phase when she tries to break your composure and the language of the bedroom where your intimidation reaches its peak. You are learning the secrets of a masculinity that has been lost for generations. You are becoming the man that women dream of and other men fear. If you're still here, it's because you know this is the truth. You felt these dynamics in your life, but you didn't have the words for them until now. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on all notifications. We are building a brotherhood of men who refuse to be nice and choose to be good. Like this video, comment the word king below if you are ready to stop seeking permission and start taking lead. Check the link in my description for my exclusive masterclass on presence. It's time to stop watching from the sidelines and start playing the game at the highest level. I'll see you in the next video.